Welcome back to the quick intro to Python 3 for AWS Automation Engineers course. Today's video will demonstrate how to create tables, load data, perform CRUD operations, and query tables in AWS DynamoDB using Python and Boto3 library. To repeat our examples, you'll need Python 3 interpreter, AWS CLI tools, Boto3 module, and IDE. We'll be using Cloud 9 IDE in this video, but you can use your local IDE such as Visual Studio Code, IntelliJ IDEA, or even a text editor. Amazon DynamoDB is a flexible, scalable, managed NoSQL database service offered by Amazon Web Services. It supports document and key value store models and has built-in support for popular data types and formats such as CSV, DynamoDB JSON, and Amazon Ion. DynamoDB's key features include automatic scalability, high performance, and low latency. DynamoDB is fully managed by Amazon, making it a good choice for mission-critical applications that require high availability and durability while still being cost-effective. DynamoDB is a good choice for applications with high throughput and low latency, such as mobile gaming, real-time bidding, live chat, and social media applications. DynamoDB scales automatically to accommodate changing throughput requirements. One of the main benefits of using DynamoDB is that it automatically replicates data across multiple availability zones, AZs, in an AWS region, providing enhanced protection against outages and data loss. DynamoDB offers comprehensive security features, including fine-grained access control, encryption at rest, the user activity logging, and integrates with other AWS services, such as Amazon S3 and Amazon EMR, to give you even more flexibility and power. Please pay attention that DynamoDB is not suited for all possible use cases. Before considering it for your project, we strongly suggest you check out an essential video from reInvent, Data Modeling with Amazon DynamoDB. To connect to Amazon DynamoDB using Boto3 library from your Python script or Lambda function, you need to use the Boto3 client or Boto3 resource. Please check out the quick intro to Boto3 clients and resources video for more information about these options for working with AWS APIs using Boto3. To create Amazon DynamoDB tables using Boto3, you need to use the DynamoDB Boto3 resource. This resource allows you to create, update, and delete DynamoDB tables and items. It also allows setting up table-level security using ACLs and item-level security using condition expressions. AWS Lambda functions commonly use the Boto3 DynamoDB resource to provide serverless access to DynamoDB data. In our example, we're creating a DynamoDB table named Employees with partition key attribute name and sort key email. Both keys have the type string. Additionally, we're setting read and write capacity units for the table to 1. DynamoDB read and write capacity units measure the amount of data that can be read from or written to a DynamoDB table per second. Read capacity units represent the number of records that can be read from a table per second. In contrast, write capacity units represent the number of records that can be written to a table per second. One read capacity unit equals 1 strongly consistent read per second, or 2 eventually consistent reads per second, for database items up to 4 kilobytes in size. On the other hand, 1 write capacity unit equals 1 write per second for items up to 1 kilobyte in size. Transactional read requests require 2 read capacity units to perform 1 read per second for items up to 4 kilobytes. And finally, transactional write requests require 2 write capacity units to perform 1 write per second for items up to 1 kilobyte. To list Amazon DynamoDB tables using Boto3, you can use the all method of the tables collection of the DynamoDB resource. The results of the all method execution can be converted to the list or iterated using the regular for loop. Tables, items, and attributes are the core objects you're working with while using Amazon DynamoDB service. A DynamoDB table consists of items. You may think of an item as a row in the relational database. Each item stored in the DynamoDB table consists of one or more attributes, you may think of them as columns in a relational database table. Please keep in mind that items in the DynamoDB table can store different attributes. In the following examples, we'll show how to perform basic CRUD, or create, read, update, delete, operations on items in DynamoDB tables. In this example, we're inserting a single item into our table which has two attributes. The name attribute equals Kelvin Galabuzzi and the email attribute equals Kelvin Galabuzzi at Hands on Cloud. To write items in batches to the Amazon DynamoDB table using Boto3, you need to use the batch writer method of the Boto3 table resources class. This method allows you to write multiple items into an Amazon DynamoDB table in a single API request. Writing items in batches is valuable when importing many items into the table. The batch write item API call used by the batch writer under the hood supports both put and delete operations. Each API request can write up to 100 items, and each can be up to 400 kilobytes. The batch write item API call has the following limitations. Each request can write items into the same table only. You cannot use filters when writing items, example, you cannot specify a condition expression. All items in the request must belong to the same partition key value. You cannot update an existing item, you can only insert or delete new items. If you need to update an item, you must delete it and then insert a new item with the updated data. For more information about the batch write item API call, check out the Amazon DynamoDB Developer Guide. And finally, items specified in the batch writer can have different attributes, but the partition and sort keys are mandatory for every item in the batch. To read items from the Amazon DynamoDB table using Boto3, you can use the getItems method of the table class of the DynamoDB resource. In our current example, we're getting an item stored in the table which has a specific partition key, name, and sort key, email. To read all items from the Amazon DynamoDB table using Boto3, you can use the scan method of the table class of the DynamoDB resource. Please keep in mind that scan operation may consume lots of read capacity units for large tables, and it is not recommended to use this method to access your data a lot. Instead, you should use query methods to get only the required data at a time. We'll cover these methods soon. You can filter DynamoDB items returned by the scan operation using the filter expression based on a specific attribute. The data class can set up the filter expression, which supports multiple filtering conditions implemented by its methods. For example, in our case, we filter results based on the department attribute value equal to IT. Please pay attention that the scan operation returns all items stored in the DynamoDB table, and the filter operation happens on the client side. So, for large tables, you may expect lots of the read capacity to be consumed and lots of data to be transmitted to the client. To update items in the Amazon DynamoDB table using Boto3, you can use the update item method of the table class of the DynamoDB resource. Also, you can use the same method to add new attributes to the item or remove them. Let's look at the structure of the previously added item, which has the primary key John, and modify one of its attributes, for example, the nested QA value of the section attribute. To achieve this goal, we need to provide several arguments to the update item method, the key that will uniquely identify the record we'd like to modify, the expression attribute names that will define attributes we'd like to change in the update expression attribute values that will define new values for the attributes, and finally, the update expression itself. For more information about the update item API call, check out the official Boto3 documentation and the AWS DynamoDB Developers Guide. These resources contain the most up-to-date information. After executing the update item method, you'll see that we've successfully updated the item attribute. To delete items in the Amazon DynamoDB table using Boto3, you need to use the delete item method. You need to specify the item's partition key to delete one or more items related to that partition key and a combination of the partition key and a sort key to define a unique item you'd like to delete. To query items in the Amazon DynamoDB table using Boto3, you can use the query method to fetch only required items based on the primary key values. To do that, you need to use the key condition expression to specify the value of the partition key. The key class module supports multiple comparison operators. They implemented as methods of this class. For example, the EQ method does a selection of all records whose key attributes exactly match the provided value. If this example, we're querying the table for all records, which partition key name equals Luz-John. A global secondary index, or GSI, allows you to define a different access pattern for your DynamoDB table items. Usually, you're using the GSI to optimize for data queries by attributes that were not defined as the table's partition and sort keys. When you define a GSI, you have to define a projection. A projection is a set of attributes that is copied from a table into a secondary index. The partition key and sort key of the table are always projected into the index, so you can project other attributes to support your application's query requirements. In our examples, we define a global secondary index named Capacity Building Index for items attribute named Capacity Building Level of type string. This attribute will be used as a partition key. In addition to that, we're projecting all other attributes to the secondary index by using the projection type all configuration to have the ability to access all item attributes by querying data using our GSI. For more information about global secondary indexes, please check out the official AWS Developer's Guide for DynamoDB. To query items in Amazon DynamoDB table items by global secondary index using Boto3, you can use the same query method and specify the index name parameter in addition to the key condition expression filter queried items by a specified index value. Just in case we're using the while loop for waiting for the GSI to be provisioned and become active, and we're querying all items from the table whose capacity building level attributes have value level 4. To create an on-demand backup for the DynamoDB table using Boto3, you can use the create backup method of the DynamoDB client and provide it with the table name and the backup name arguments. Finally, let's take a look at how you delete a DynamoDB table using Boto3. To achieve this goal, you can use the delete table method and provide it with the name of the DynamoDB table. That's all we wanted to cover in this video. For more information about this topic, please check out the official AWS and Boto3 documentation. These resources are the most up-to-date sources of information. If you'd like to get more information about certain operations with Amazon DynamoDB or any other AWS services using Python and Boto3 library, please let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the like button. This will help us to publish and spread more educational hands-on content related to cloud automation for the community. Thank you for your attention and stay tuned.